do you think that Facebook will follow suit and ban political ads? Zuckerberg said they wouldn't on the call last night, but things can change. What's your take?
I'd be really surprised, Brian, if they were to reverse course here. Mark made it very clear on the call as to his philosophy around Facebook as a platform for free speech as he thinks about it. And, you know, in order for him to come back on that view, it seems like it would require a pretty meaningful reversal. So, again, I'd be surprised if we were to see Facebook reverse course here and ban political advertising the way we saw Twitter did last night.
Well, tell us about the size of political ads on Facebook anyway. If they're not going to go to Twitter, and that's not a huge part of Twitter's business as well, it's very small. Maybe Facebook picks up a little Twitter's political ad business then. Would it be material at all, Kevin?
Well, in the same way it's immaterial for Twitter, we saw last night from Ned Siegel, the CFO, that was, less than $3 million in 2016, again, for Twitter. For Facebook, we heard on the call that it was less than 0.5% of advertising in the last presidential election cycle. So the financial impact here for both companies is de minimis. What really is important, I think, is it speaks to the overall philosophy of the company as it relates to, politics. And these are very tricky issues to handle. So, again, more of a view of philosophy than it is financials.
Okay, so what was the best and maybe the worst part of the quarter?
For Facebook, I would say, really results were very strong across the board, really comfortably uncontroversial. I'd point to, revenue growth remaining above 30% on FX neutral basis. We saw the strongest U.S. user growth for the Facebook Blue platform in almost 2 years, which I think will mitigate a lot of concerns about perhaps lagging engagement on that platform. And then margins were well ahead as well, above 40% on a GAAP operating basis. I mean, you're really going 3 for 3. And unlike in previous third quarters where we always get the forward OPEX guide, here we saw, a very benign guide where OPEX will grow slower than a lot of investors, I believe, thought. And that's let the strong 3Q result flow through. And we expect estimates to move higher today.
Is it clear that despite some people out there, on by the way, ironically, Twitter saying, delete Facebook and people threatening to cancel, nobody is, and that Facebook's growth seems to be just continuing uninhibited?
Well, that's right. Despite what a lot of headlines might lead you to believe, the reported organic trends remain basically as strong as ever, if not slightly accelerating. So, I think investors can take a lot of comfort in that.
Yeah, and so if you had to look at your biggest concern, I know the quarter was good, stock's up, you like it, Kevin. What's one thing that you're watching maybe the most closely?
Well, I think there's, what investors are really looking for are, a view into the next leg of growth, whether that be e-commerce on Instagram or payments, in terms of trying to get the large multiple expansion, which could really take this stock, well above where it is today. You probably needed incremental disclosure on some of those new initiatives. We didn't get that. But again, the strong results, the organic trends really speak for themselves. So, we like it as much as we ever have.
You also cover Twitter. I'm going to put you on the spot. You got to hold on Twitter with a $42 price tag. You got to buy on Facebook. Does Twitter's move make you change your thinking about it's getting a lot of positive attention, and I imagine will, but does it do anything for the equity?
Well, I think there's kind of 3 points as it relates to political advertising, both, Twitter and Facebook. You could make this same point. Again, number one, the financial impact, very small here. So that's really not the issue. What it does, though, and I think it has a degree of unintended consequences, it gives, clear favor to politicians that have clear organic reach. President Trump, obviously, tens of millions of followers. So it gives them, the ability to get their message out there when, otherwise lesser-known politicians might not be, since they can't promote their own messages. And second, I think it does speak to a challenge of, deciding what exactly is political, right? So let's say an activist group wants to, put a message out there combating climate change. Well, now Twitter's put itself in a position where it needs to decide, is that political, is it not? These are very tricky questions. It seems that Facebook has taken the stance of, all right, we're not going to be the platform and arbiter of what is or is not political. So Twitter's, I think, introduced, new challenges by way of this announcement last night.